Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now, I will explain about my research. The title is Rapid Assessment to Improve Concept Understanding and Analyze Students' Difficulties in Equilibrium and Rotation Dynamics. Okay. Physics subjects aim to develop the ability to identify problems in everyday life and make decisions using physics concepts. Therefore, the objective of physics subjects are set to the aside if it is assigned and mastery of physics concepts. A good understanding of the concept is needed, especially in fundamental physics materials, one of which is equilibrium and rotation dynamics. This material is very important to understand because it is very close to everyday life, as happened to the beautiful jumper. When the jumper is about to make a leap in the air, it will bend its body. It reduces the inertia, so that the angular velocity is greater. In the final stage of the jumper further lengthened its body so that it can dive into the water at a low angular velocity. But in fact, many students still have difficulty mastering equilibrium and rotation dynamics. Students understand that objects that rotation on the axis and have a greater distance to the axis have a greater angular velocity than those with a smaller distance from the axis. And many students only perform mathematical manipulation without being based on an understanding of the physical concept behind the formula. Okay. The difficulties is caused by several things, such as the first, students' lack of ability to identify problems, so they cannot understand the problems and how to solve them. The second, students the only given ready to use formula without understanding the meaning of this formula. The solution is robust assessment. Media as a means of deepening the material's contents practice questions which are accompanied by feedback and packaged in the form of interactive videos and can be accessed using the web or application. In addition to deepening the materials and medias is also a tool for evaluations. Every assessment component, the first conceptual questions are in the form of reasons multiple choice. The second, feedback quickly, and then self-assessment, and the last package according to the pattern how to be billionaires. The end result is first knowing the effectiveness of the robust assessment that has been developed on students' understanding of concept and equilibrium and rotation dynamics. The second, knowing the difficulties that students still have in the materials of equilibrium and rotation dynamics even though students have used the developed robust assessment. Method. The experimental design used is a mixed method embedded experimental model. The first pretest, the second intervention, the assessment, the third post-test, and the last interview and questionnaire. Descriptive statistical. In the form of pretest and post-test scores and gain, which contain the mean and squeeness. Take sample test to find out whether there were differences in the students' mastery of concept before and after the use of a assessment. Exercise to determine the influence of the use of a assessment, that is, the ability to understand the concept of students. Normalize, gain, analyze, or T-factor to determine the effective of learning and increase student score. Correlation tests is carried out of the pretest and post-test scores to reinforce the claim that web assessment is effective in facilitating all students. Questionnaire determine students' response to the use of web assessment. Interview students have interviewed according to the needs of the researcher via chat to ask for reasons or whatever was needed. Result of the web assessment resumed in the self-assessment section. Determine the level of students' understanding and also the difficulties students face with each question and in each web assessment package. The discussion and result. The result of the questionnaire stated that 25.41% of students found it easy to operate the web assessment. The result of the questionnaire stated that 81.25% of students respond to explanation in feedback to help them find misconception about equilibrium and rotation dynamics. The result of the peer sample test. The test showed that there is a significant difference in the mean score between the pretest and post-test, and the post-test score was higher than the pretest score. The effect size value is a very large category. The use of web assessment has a very large effect on students' mastery of concepts as indicated by differences in pretest and post-test score. And then the result is the effectiveness of using web assessment can improve students' understanding of concepts. Correlation test. A correlation test was carried out of the pretest and post-test score, which resulted in a significant correlation with a high positive correlation. The web assessment is effective in facilitating all students. And then the shift in student answer. The shift in student answer from pretest and post-test on question that aside the upper medium gain. The first rotation kinematic, number 1. In the material, Ahmad and Samsul are in a carousel or slightly object that rotation on a central axis. When a rigid body rotates on the fixed axis, each point on the rigid body travels at the same angle in a certain time or has the same angular velocity. Therefore, Ahmad's angular speed is the same as the speed of Samsul angle of the curvature. The answer is B. Now, based on this result, 13/7 chose the correct answer B. However, there are still students who choose the wrong answer. A. 22 students, C. 12 students, and D. 12 students. During the first test, the number of students who chose the correct answer B shifted to 63 students. 50 of the 22 people who chose answer A at pretest had shifted to choose correct answer B at post-test. With following arguments, this is the correct concept is displayed elegantly in the feedback given to the 3 web assessment questions, namely question number 1, package 1, 2, and 3. The second, TORCA, number 8. The TORCA on each disc on wall is generated by the weight of clay. The two clay attached to each object are identical, and the spacing on the clay on the angle of the aluminum disc and the iron wall is the same. The answer is D. Based on the result of pretest, there were 42 students who chose the correct answer D. However, most students answer or concentrated on answer choose B. During the post-test, the number of students who chose the correct answer D increased to 62 students. This, and 13 out of 15 people who chose answer B and C during the pre-test had said to choose the correct answer D during the post-test with argument this is. There are 5 verbal assessment questions about Torka with different context, namely question number 4 and 5 ticket 1, number 3 and 4 ticket 2, and number 4 ticket 3. Okay. The conclusion is verbal assessment that has been developed is effective in facilitating our students to improve students' mastery of concept or equilibrium and rotation dynamic. There is a very large category difference between the pre-test and post-test scores. An equal score can increase. The correlation test on the pre-test and post-test score showed a significant correlation with a high positive correlation value. The difficulties some students still have regarding equilibrium and rotation dynamic after using verbal assessment include: the first, difficulty in analyzing and describing the direction of angular acceleration on the pendulum. The second, lack of understanding the concept of rotational kinetic in the pendulum. Thank you for my explanation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.